So I started at 6 years old when I was born in 1934. My first day in school, oh yes. I was so excited that I think I was up in bed all night. I don't think I slept at all. And actually, we lived up in the upper part of Washington College then. And at that time, my father had bought some land on the southern part of, well, it's the northern part of Limestone, I guess. And we had moved down there, and I was going through all that too. So yeah, I was so just excited, and I had all my clothes out ready to jump in them the first day. I mean, 3 girls and 4 boys in my family. I was the next to the oldest girl. It's 2 below me. Back then, it wasn't too easy to even get a ride to school, but get us ride to school, you know. When I was at Washington College, you know, it was real good. But after we moved to Limestone, and down where I lived, there was still horse and buggy roads, I guess you call them. So a lot of times from my house where I lived down in there, a school bus and stuff didn't come down in there hardly. So we had to walk to the top of the hill at the road. All of it was dirt road, so had to walk at the top of the hill in the morning to catch the school bus. And it was always dark when we went up there because our daddy always went with us and carried a flashlight or a lantern or something, you know, stay until the school bus running and he'd come back home. And if you missed that school bus, you didn't get to school. But however, the train station, back then you could still get on the train and come to Johnson City and Greenville everywhere. A lot of times he would put us on the train and we'd come up here to Jonesboro and get off of the train down there and walk up here to the schoolhouse. Keep from missing a day at school. And I really tried hard to not miss a day at school or anything too. And then the evening going back home, if you didn't catch that school bus, you were just out of luck. Unless you could get out there and catch a bus, go down through there. And back then the buses were running regular too. But it was really good though. We would walk to up the railroad track and the train to pick us up and bring us on up here. And I think about then it cost about 7 cents or something like that. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I liked school. I really liked it. I've done other schooling since then, and transportation was an issue. I rode the bus a lot in the train. You just had to catch the opportunity when it came by. I always had a bunch of friends everywhere I ever went all my life. Yeah, at school, even here at school, and even when I went to Johnson City, graduated from Langston. And I was the kind of person that I said, I'm not going to, you know how it is in school a lot of times, so that's got to have little boyfriends or girlfriends and stuff. And I always said it made up in my mind that I wasn't going to be dedicated to anybody personally, you know, just to everybody. That's the way I was all the way through grammar school and high school too. Plenty of friends. So some of us, we played basketball and just talked, and a lot of times, a lot of them, you know, I had, even when I was here in school, there was a friend of mine, we was really close, and we could draw, and we drew a lot. When it's, you know, assignments back then, I don't know what they're doing now, we always had to do a lot of drawing, and there was always somebody that couldn't draw anything. I would draw for him, and me and my friend, but we never did draw theirs as quite as good as ours. But we loved to draw, both of us did. He's still living too. Actually, he was living in Detroit, Michigan, but he just moved a year or so ago back down to, I think it's Nashville's where he's at, because he had his children that lived down there. And he still comes by to see me about every year, and when he comes up here, this year they haven't been up here yet, but his health is failing a little bit too, because he did drive a lot. But we're still friends. Theodore Gillespie, he was living in Limestone. He's got a sister, 2 sisters that's still living down there now. We would be in competition with each other. And we drew a picture of this school. here as it was then. And I don't know where we got it, some a long paper about like this. Actually, we worked on it. I don't know how long we worked on it. And then we turned them in. But I know they came, some of them came here from Nashville, and they took my picture, and they said it was hanging down there in that building in Nashville. I never did get to go see it. I kept forgetting it. We traveled a lot even after I got married, but I kept forgetting it. I don't know if it's still there or not. Well, we drew it, and and we took the red crayons and colored the bricks and stuff and everything, and just like the school was. We were here early before the other kids came to school, and then when school was out, they would go on home, and we'd have to wait till the school bus come by and picked us up and took us home. So we just played around and everything, and I always had things to do, though. I was just that kind of person, and a lot of times, it's always one teacher would stay until we were picked up, and a lot of times pick me, and I'd go, it's a store right down there. I'd go to the store and buy their snacks for them, whatever they wanted, everything, a lot of times. Mostly back then, back then people go to the store and what they would eat would be like bologna and crackers and cheese and crackers. And Miss Brown, most of the time when I go to the store for her, that's what she would want. I can't remember some of the rest of them, what they would want all the time, but I know Miss Brown, she always had to go get her cheese, crackers. She knew exactly what she wanted. Most of the teachers were pretty good teachers and everything, But we did have that one teacher, and her husband was a doctor, Dr. Cheryl, and Miss Cheryl, I think a few years ago, she used to live, I forget where they moved to, and he died, and they said she moved back here, but I didn't see her, but some of them in Jonesboro was telling me about seeing her. But she was prejudiced a little bit, and I never will forget, back in, they take that pill, and anyway, I went home that night, and I told my daddy about her. See, if somebody would do something, she wanted to paddle everybody. So I told Daddy about it, and I told Daddy, I said, Daddy, I don't like it. I said, I am not taking no more paddles. I told Daddy that, but Daddy, they used to have a kitchen in there, and we would work in the kitchens, after school was out, and I always had brown beans. We washed the brown beans and let them soak overnight, so we'd have them the next day and do all that stuff. And Daddy used to give potatoes and stuff to the school to help feed the people all the time. But anyway, I went home and told Daddy about it, and I told him I wouldn't take it no more. So the next day, lo and behold, time we got up here to the schoolhouse, on that school bus, who was here? Daddy. So I don't know what he said to her and everything, and he told he wouldn't give him nothing to help no more. But he didn't like it too good. But it shocked me. I wasn't thinking he was listening that good, really. But I didn't take no more paddlers, and she didn't bother me with this. And another thing is, back then, they would have people from up north, people that knew people from up north, and I don't know what the connection was with the rest of it, but they would send big boxes of clothes down here to give people to wear. She would have her picks, try to pick the best clothes out and give it to them first, and I realized that too, so I was the one that always tried to put my foot down, even then, But we did get a lot of nice clothing and stuff from them, though, anyway. But we wasn't worried about that too much, because we had relatives up north, and they sent us clothes, real nice clothes all the time, It's just the way it was. I say, that's why I look at people a lot of times that are talking about prejudice and white and black and this, that, and other, and I'm thinking like, it's not only that. People are just prejudiced, period, some of them. Don't care what color they are. And I've been in conditions where I've had white people, and mostly all I had was friends was white. Because I know when I was in the Army one time, and I know this black guy that I knew, he's a friend of somebody else I knew, and he told me I was prejudiced, and I looked at him and I thought, I don't know where you're coming from, what you're talking about. And I said, well, maybe that's the way you feel, because most people wasn't brought up like we were. We were brought up with white people all the time. My best friends. We slept together, we ate together, we helped each other and everything down where I live. I never will forget, right here in this gym, right in that area right there, I went down on my ankle and it hurt so bad, and I said, I ain't doing this no more. So I didn't do this much, but my sisters, they kept it up and they done real well. But I did play a little basketball, but they were real good, and they kept on playing. But I guess I was pretty good though too, but I couldn't take it, so I quit. But they kept playing, and they played on it up into high school. In the gym here, oh, I know when we'd have, honey, when we had the basketball games, and they had the boys basketball team too. And a lot of them that lived here in the area, you know, that I still remember, a lot of friends too, they played basketball. They had real good games. I mean, it was always a big turnout here. Everybody tried to come here to a basketball game, I think. And you know what? And it surprised us, and it turned my daddy on. He would come, he wouldn't miss no basketball games at all. And we'd get so tickled at him, and he'd say, my younger sister, her nickname was Mickey, and my other sister, they called her Pookie. And they'd get so embarrassed because Daddy'd get carried away, and he'd jump up and down and he'd say, basket that ball, Pookie. Basket that ball, Mickey. Oh. And it embarrassed him, you know. Nobody called him Mickey and Pookie. But yeah, he loved the basketball games. Mama did too, but she didn't get to come out as much. Because I can imagine all she had to do all the time. She's probably tired at night anyway and didn't want to come out. But Daddy'd always get a ride with my Uncle James most of the time. That drove the school bus, you know. Everybody wanted to ride his bus. Yes, indeed. Everybody wanted to ride his bus. He was good. Yes, but we loved school. I never did like math all that good. I just done enough to get by, but the rest of it, you know, was good. And we'd always share, me and my friends, all the way through high school. I had friends. And a lot of times we would rotate. And something that they couldn't do, I'd do it, and something that they'd do something else for me. And we would even share, like reading books, doing book reports and everything like that. I had plenty of them. Some of them, they were smarter than me though, really. But we were all friends. We got through it. We got the job done, buddy. Anyway, it was all fun. I can remember it. I was still good. And actually, I still dream about it. Well, actually, I did, after I finished school and everything, I went to nursing school. And I don't know if I'd done that after I went to the Army and come back in. But, you know, I thought, like, I had a cousin that lived here in Jonesboro, D.O. Russell. She was a good basketball player. She went in the Navy. And that just turned me on. I really liked it. So I decided I was going to go in the Army. And I told Mom and Daddy about it. And they said, whatever you want to do. I went and I took that test for the Army and Navy and the Air Force. I passed them, and they called and told me I passed them all. So I went in the Army because, for one thing, I don't know about the Air Force. It might have been all right then, because later on I did get into the air, you know, interested in that. But I thought, I'm not getting out there in that water. I had a good tour in the Army, and I enjoyed that too. But I found out one thing though, that everywhere I have ever been, there's always been people that you can help in some way or another. And that has always been my thing that I do all my life, just about it. And a lot of people think about, well, I ain't got nothing, how am I going to help somebody? Yeah, you can help. You got a mouth in some way or another. You can help somebody. You can talk if it ain't nothing but just talking and giving advice and trying to help them, make them feel better. I think the thing about when you try to help people, you do better yourself. You do get the blessings, because I felt them many times, and I have felt like, especially in the last few years or so, that I don't know what you call it, but I just felt like a person that's been overly blessed. And it comes back to you, sure does. I've done a lot of missionary work overseas. And I've been overseas too. But I still got some of the pictures and stuff I took a long time ago where we done stuff. And through the churches that where my husband was the pastors, done a lot of work also. He turned out he was beside an elder too. He was over the preachers, the ministers. My husband, I knew him when in high school. I knew him, but I never did know what happened to him. But I remember when he left that time, because he was in the band, and he walked out and just went out. Never did see no more. I never did know where he was at. But he had went, and I think he was a little dissatisfied with stuff. I don't know at home, but he had went in the Air Force, so that's where he was. And so I never thought no more about it that much. But after I had went in the Army and come back home, I was back home, and we was at a football game, and I kept hearing somebody say, "Johnny Dixon's home, Johnny Dixon's home," and I thought, who they talking about? So we looked back, and there he was up in the back, and he came down to sit with us. And actually, he didn't know us that good anyway, because he'd been gone a long time. I don't know. That's just where he sat down. But anyway, that night we started talking, and that was it. And we decided to get married, because I always said that it seems like all my friends, nearly everybody just about it, done got married and everything, but I really didn't. I wasn't ready to be settled down and do that. So that's how we got together. But actually, it served him well. We've done good. We helped a lot of people and everything. He done real well. I went to nursing school at, there's two people here in Jonesboro. We went to nursing school together. Nancy, Ray, and Margaret. We decided to do that. And that's wrong when they first started teaching the nursing up there. And then I decided I'd get out of it. And I gave all my uniforms and shoes and stuff to my cousin. She was a nurse. She lives down in Nashville. And then I went to school went on the GI Bill. And after I done that, I didn't want to do that either. So, been popping around. Well, I had 4, but 2 girls and 2 boys. But the boys are deceased. Okay. There's 2 girls living now. I have Tina this year, and Carmen. She lives in North Carolina. Yeah, I tease them all the time. They stay busy doing stuff all the time. And I said, y'all need to slow down. And they said, well, Mama, we got it from you. 3 grandchildren. 3 great-grandchildren. 5 grandchildren. Down home where we live, we had neighbors they were pitiful. Sort of, needed somebody to help them and show them the way and a lot of stuff. And we used to laugh about this. Now y'all gonna laugh about this too, because we used to this one family over there, and they didn't know how to fix their hair or do anything. Honey, we was putting grease in. We was putting grease in that. They rolled it up and curled it and everything. Honey, they thought they were hot stuff. I didn't know no better. Yeah, we was trying to fix their hair like black people, And I'll never forget, and Libby, that one, she was a blonde. And Lord have mercy. I did a lot. I'd cut hair. I cut hair for them for a lot. A lot of times I did. And then we fixed them up. If we didn't think they looked like, we'd grease them up, fix them up. Daddy was always like it with all the neighbors and everybody too. He helped people. I know when people would be hungry, and Daddy'd be taking food to them and everything. But we've always been the same way, because I think that's the way to live. That's what we have to do. It just don't make no sense for nobody to be out there hungry or cold and clothes to wear and all that stuff. Why, it don't make no sense. Mama used to sew a lot. She sewed a lot. I used to sew too, tell the truth about it. Oh, I know. My friend I was telling you about lived in Limestone. He's down in Nashville now. They used to always have the good bologna sandwiches and peanut butter sandwiches and stuff in his lunch. So he was bothered about somebody getting his lunch one time. So me and him sat down and talked. And what he done, he bought 2 lunches. And you know what he done? Me and him figured this out. He put red hot pepper in the sandwiches.
Oh my goodness.
He did put red hot pepper in them sandwiches. That stopped that. Except, well, I really didn't get in trouble, but the only thing was that time, you know, she's a peeling us in the hand with that peel. That hurt. And I said, I ain't doing it no more. But I'm a kind of person, I was just guesses like my daddy. If I make up my mind that I ain't going to do what I'm going to do, that's it. You know, I learned early in life, I knew what was right and what was wrong. So I got along pretty good. Oh, well, a lot of times we would be waiting on that school bus out there, and there was that man house. A lot of times we'd have people would come back on that had gone to school. They'd come back on the school lot and do a little courting and stuff. I thought that was funny, though. We had a lot of them. And they would just be laying back right back there on them steps. But we had, actually it was pretty good here. There's always somebody doing crazy stuff. But I know we had the playground down there where we played ball and everything. And them outside toilets, I'm just thinking, how in the world do we do that? But there was no restrooms in here. And the boys' bathrooms was up on that end. The boys' toilet and the girls' toilets was down on this end. But I had some really good teachers that were really smart all the way through. They were good.